What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about how to stay on the path of personal development. A lot of people start off with some kind of personal development. Maybe they start going to the gym with ambition to lose some weight and get in the best shape of their life. Or maybe they start to eat healthy because they want to have more energy. Maybe they start to build a new skill because they want to do a career change and live a more passionate, fulfilling life. Maybe you start to read more books because you just want to educate yourself more. You want to expand your mind. And then maybe you do it for a couple weeks and then your consistency starts to die off and you're not as excited as you were when you first began. And now you've kind of just fallen off the path of self-development and you're back where you started. By the way, guys, sorry about my appearance. I promise you I am a peaceful member of society, but I also like to grapple, and I train in a training room with consenting training partners, and accidents happen, and every now and then you get heel kicked in the face. So that is what my appearance is the result of. Just a little disclaimer there, but I still wanted to make this video, so here we are. And now you're having a hard time staying the course, staying on the path of self-development. So if that sounds like you, we're going to have solutions for you here in this video. We are talking about how to stay on the path. Let's get right into it. The first one we're going to talk about is remembering why you began. So however you began your self-development journey, we'll call it, it began with you trying to develop an area of yourself or an area of your life so that it is better. So you did some work, you did some hard work, maybe you faced some difficult truths to improve an area of your life. And if you even got just halfway there, I'm sure you know that it really works. You probably started to feel a lot better. Maybe you started to see the weight come off. Maybe you started to practice speaking to people more confidently, and you started to feel more comfortable in your own skin in social situations. Maybe you started to feel the effects of meditation and how being more present in your life in general is a wonderful, beautiful thing that's going to help your mental and physical health. But the reality is that development of any type is going to take work. So it's hard, so you start to fall off. Stay connected to the fact that personal development is about growing as a person and living a more fulfilling life in literally any way that you see fit. Any area that you want improvement on can fall under this umbrella of personal development that we're talking about here. And there are solutions. There are ways to develop any area of your life. It's just going to take work. But if you've even had a glimmer of any of that work that you've done, getting some results, then you know it's worth it. And I know it can be a lot of work sometimes, guys. Depending on what it is that you're trying to resolve and develop, it could be a lot of work. It could take a lot of reflection. It could take a lot of inquiry. It could take a lot of time and energy. But I promise you, it is worth it. And I don't even have to tell you that. Like I said, if you've even began to see any results, I'm sure you know that it's worth it. I'm sure you know that the easy life of, sitting on the couch and sulking in your old ways is not actually the easy life. That requires less effort, but that's a much harder life. It's much difficult for you to live that way. So stay grounded to why you began any self-development, any personal development in the first place. Remind yourself why you started. That's really going to help you stay on the course. Like, you have to believe that it's worth it. And as you begin to self-develop more and more and more, you're going to have more evidence, more proof to yourself, more results that it is in fact worth it. And I promise you it gets easier if you keep going. That brings us to the next point. These kind of tie into one another. Prioritize progress over perfection. No matter what kind of personal development you're trying to do, you're probably going to have a setback here and there. You might eat the entire bag of chips one night. Maybe you're trying to have better communication in your relationship. You might not show up in that relationship how a good communicator would every now and again. You might fall back into your old ways of getting closed off and just blaming the other person. Maybe you're trying to develop a new skill. You might miss a couple days of practice. That doesn't mean you just throw out the entire pursuit. And this is very important because a lot of times we lose the momentum that we've created for ourselves, and it can feel really hard to get started again because we feel so discouraged. But if you adopt this perspective that it's okay, that it happens to the best of us, that everyone has setbacks, and that you shouldn't let those deter you from taking the next step, then it's going to be a lot less discouraging. So really try to adopt this perspective of, I want to prioritize progress over perfection. And that's going to take you a long way. That's going to really help you stay on the path of self-development and not just throw the whole thing away because you took a couple steps backwards. Self-development is very much 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's going to feel that way, especially in the beginning. And the more you do it, the less frequently you're going to take a step back, but it still happens to the best of us. And like I said, just try not to let that discourage you. Know that it happens to the best of us. And there's that saying that if somebody took $5 out of your $10,000 bank account, you wouldn't throw away the $9,995 that you had left. Similarly, if you have, 5 bad minutes, you shouldn't throw away the whole day and just write it off and let yourself be miserable about it. If you have 5 bad days of missing exercises, you shouldn't be throwing away the rest of your life as a person who exercises. And this reminds me of the quote, your most important move is always your next one. So don't let yourself dwell on the past too much. Don't let yourself get discouraged from the fact that you took a step back. Just be aware of it and start to take the next steps forward, even though that can often be difficult because we did lose our momentum. And that brings me to the next point. We're almost done here, guys. We're halfway through. I have 2 more points, and they're a lot shorter. The next one is utilize systems that help you stay accountable to yourself. So like I said, sometimes we lose momentum, right? Personally, I have a rule where I need to at least show up. There's a lot of things that I need to at least show up every day for just to keep that momentum. Even if it's just 2 minutes. Like I'm trying to learn Italian. Even if I'm just going on the Duolingo app and doing 1 lesson, which will literally take me 2 minutes, I showed up that day. I could feel good about it. In fact, that's funny that I brought that example up because Duolingo even has this feature where you keep your streak alive because they know momentum is a really big thing. Psychologically, it really helps us when we just show up. So utilize systems that help you keep yourself accountable, that help you show up to what you want to do as often as you want to be showing up for it, but at least keeping momentum going of, okay, I showed up today. As a little side note, I have a completely free habit tracking calendar. I'll include the link in the description down below. You can print it out, put it on your fridge, and the way it works is you could put anywhere from like 3 to 7 things that you want to be showing up and doing every day. Maybe it's a cold shower, meditation, read, do your Duolingo lesson, work on your business, whatever it might be. You write them down every day that you at least showed up, even for 2 minutes, to that thing. You get to put a line through the day, and the objective is to get a streak going where you did all your non-negotiables, we call them. And it's positive reinforcement to keep the momentum going and stay on track. And it's a visual thing that helps you keep yourself accountable. So you can go ahead and print that out. So that's one example of a system that you can use to keep yourself accountable. Depending on what it is that you're trying to stay accountable in, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do this. I just wanted to give you one example and one action step that you can do to start that today. Go ahead. Claim that habit tracking calendar, print it out, put it somewhere where you're going to see it all the time and utilize it. You can use a journal as a system to help you keep yourself accountable and reflect on what it is that you said you were going to do and did you do it. I have a life audit workbook coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. I'll post it in my community tab and I'll also make a video when I release that. All right, guys, as I was editing this, I realized the life audit workbook is now public. I will include the link to it in the description down below. It is a very good resource for you to systematize your own goals and self-accountability. So I highly, highly encourage you to go get it right now, fill it out, and use it to do a quarterly audit on yourself. It's a great system. I've been doing a quarterly audit for a long time. Other than that, I highly encourage you to find any systems that you think are going to work for you with your specific goals. But this is one specific system that will work for anyone, no matter what your goals are. Go check it out. Link in the description down below. All right, and the last one, this is going to be very short and sweet. Don't be too hard on yourself, guys. There's nothing that will deter you more from doing something than when you beat yourself up over it. And when you start to get down on yourself, you're just going to want to avoid that thing altogether. So when it comes to self-development, yeah, sometimes, you got to kick yourself in the ass a little bit and pull up your bootstraps and make sure you're getting to work. But don't be too hard on yourself to the point where it deters you from wanting to keep going in the first place, where you form this like toxic relationship with yourself and with self-development. That's something that's not actually too uncommon. So I thought that was worth putting in here. But hey, maybe your problem is that you don't hold yourself accountable enough. In that case, maybe you got to be a little harder on yourself, not in the sense that you have no compassion for yourself and you just, have this negative self-talk, but be a little harder on yourself in a sense that you're a little bit less coddling and you're more willing to keep yourself accountable, more willing to look in the mirror and say, okay, this is up to me. I got to get to work. No one's here to save me. I got to show up and do the work. All that to say, within context, don't be too hard on yourself. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Those are the ways that you can stay on the path of self-development and not let yourself wander away from it for too far, for too long. I hope you found value from this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.